Okay, so welcome. Okay, so today's practice was kind of inspired by a quote that has long been on a favorite list of mine. And it's by Marianne Williamson. And she says that our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, that our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And this quote was actually wrongly attributed to Nelson Mandela, but I think that speaks so much to the power of the quote that someone of that status and reverence is said to have made this quote. And I think it's something that we all go through in our lifetime. We have these moments of excitement, we have these moments of creativeness, of ideas, where we really have this opportunity to be really big and really bright in that moment. And then I think there's a part of us that pulls back and we start to play small. And so today's practice is really just about allowing yourself to tap into that true potential, to tap into that true power of ourselves. Okay, so we'll just get started here in child's pose. So a bit of a resting pose, a little bit softer. Okay. So you'll bring your big toes together to touch, knees spread wide, and then sit your hips back onto your heels and gather your hands forward, forehead to the ground. Now you're welcome to make this as soft or as active as you'd like. So if you want to make this a little bit more restorative, you can just take a soft bend into the elbows. You might just start to rock your forehead side to side a couple of times. Okay, massage out any stress or tension you're holding in your face. If over time of being in this shape, you want to make this more active, you can play with either walking your fingertips forward, or you can actually just keep your hands planted as they are and then grip into the mat, almost like you're clawing into the earth, and then slide your shoulders away from your ears so that you're lengthening out your spine. And then wherever you've chosen to land, whether elbows are soft and heavy on the mat or lifted and arms extended, can you just take a couple of deep full belly breaths, really beginning to breathe into that depth that's available for you here. So often, even with our breath, we play a little bit small, that we very rarely are breathing to depth. And so there is this opportunity as we start our practice just to notice how much space, how much room we have to grow into within the practice. So as your breath expands to the outer edges of your ribs, can you also allow your body to press outwards, almost like you're lifting from the earth, that you're getting a little bit bigger. And then as you exhale, just softening back through center, finding a comfortable place to land. And just take a couple more of those breaths so that each breath becomes an opportunity to reach, to expand, to illuminate. And each exhale to just come back to center, to reset, to let go. Take one more breath at center. And then gather your hands over to the right. So they might still land on your mat. You might land your hands off of your mat. You can even place one hand over top of the other, maybe your left over top of your right. And now allow your breath to expand into your left side body. So creating a whole lot of space in that side. Either let your head hang heavy or forehead rest on the ground. And notice the power that even lies within your breath. The power to begin to shift through some of that stickiness or tension. And then also the power and softness. So our ability to just be a little bit more fluid. So you can even hear in stillness, feel your body moving. Take one more full belly breath here as you are. And then you'll just gently walk your hands back through center and find the other side. So noticing any sensation in the knees, any tingling in the legs, but then beginning to feel into that space of the right side body that's beginning to open up for you to move into. Notice how you both have the space to get big and the space to get small. That there's this duality to the practice where we can expand and then we can contract. Where we can put in effort and energy as we inhale, and where we can just let that go and become soft as we exhale, falling more into the ease. Gently walk your hands all the way back through center, and then slide your hands underneath your shoulders. So you'll meet into a cat shape. Hands can slide or walk underneath your shoulder. Take your knees underneath your hips. Curl and round through the spine. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. Inhale, breath, drop your belly down, cow. Spread your fingertips out wide, lift the sternum, lift the hips. As you exhale, curl and round through the spine. Tuck your tailbone down, belly button drawing up. Inhale, breath, drop through the belly, lift through the heart. So just beginning to use some of this fluidity to break the barriers of tension, to break the barriers of habit, of posture, and to just begin to tap into this idea that we're always changing, we're always shifting, and there's so much power in our ability just to be present with that change. Let's take one more round of cat-cows. If you need longer in any of these poses or movements, of course you're welcome to continue and just join in when you're ready. Otherwise, meet back to a tabletop. Your feet can be about hip width distance apart. Tuck your toes under and then walk your hands back towards your heels. So you're gonna sit onto your heels, and then you can begin to walk your hands even more fully back. Lift through the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades. Feel this opening of the front line of the body. And then begin to walk your hands forward. Place your hands either in front of your knees or beside. Pick up your hips. Soft bend into the knees. Begin to melt your heels to the ground in a variation of fold. Okay, so not quite the full standard fold that we would normally come into. And our hands are a little bit further in front. We have a deeper bend into the knees. But this is for the transition, so we're just gonna move through this a few more times. Pick up your heels, bend your knees to lower knees to your mat, and then walk your hands back, hips to heels, lean back, lift the gaze up, open the throat. And then as you exhale, begin to walk your hands forward, pressing into your hands, lift your hips up and drape your body over your thighs. Okay, so you're just gonna move through this a couple more times. So modification of camel as you lean back and open through the heart, throat, front of the body. And then modification of fold as you press into your hands and just drape your body. So continue with that for a few more movements. Okay. See if you can find the power in the rhythm of your breath, so that we're not just moving for the sake of moving, but there's an intentionality behind where the breath is guiding us to, so that as you're expanding through the lungs, through the rib cage, you begin to take this expansion into the front of the body, and as you soften back through center, you're folding in towards yourself. Okay, let's take one more breath just like that, beginning to feel a little bit more length into hamstrings, into quads, maybe even down the length of your spine. Okay, the next time that you come into your fold, you're gonna pause there. Make sure your feet are hip width distance, and then walk your hands in. You can reach arms for opposite elbows, or you can interlace your hands behind your head. Okay, you might begin to shift a little bit, side to side, left and right. I'm just feeling into this fluidity. One of my favorite goddesses from Hindu mythology speaks to this idea of fluidity, and she's this goddess of never not being broken. And so she recognizes that her power is in her ability to never be fully put back together, in her ability to consistently move and shift as the world around her changes. And so she's actually pictured with all of her bones slightly separated. And so in this practice, you might begin to tap into that power, what it is just to move through something without having to feel rigid or our traditional definition of strong and grounded, but how we can remain grounded here, our feet pressing into the mat, but still fluid and able to shift and be really soft. If you do have a grip of your fingertips or arms, you can just gently release. Okay, as you inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the ground or onto your shins. Peel your belly away from your thighs, reach the crown of your head forward, hips back. As you exhale, fold. You can keep a soft bend in your knees as you inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Feel your spine grow a little bit longer, and then exhale to fold. Let's take one more breath, just like that. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Walk your fingertips all the way forward, downward facing dog. So first down dog ever practice, you might need to shift your feet, or you might need to walk your hands in closer, further away. So just beginning in this flux to explore this pose and how it's landing in your body today. The first time that we come into this shape, it might feel a little bit sticky, especially if we haven't been very mobile for the first part of our day. So just beginning to explore, almost like you're inviting this pose into your body rather than inviting your body into this pose. And we'll start to find a little bit of movement here. As you inhale, lift up high onto the balls of your feet, so heels peel away from your mat. And then as you exhale, drop your heels back down, soften through the shoulders. Okay, 2 more breaths just like that. Inhale to lift, and exhale, drop the heels. Inhale, as the heels lift, lift your hips as well, and then exhale, lower the heels down. Okay, this time as you pick up your heels, look forward and take a bunch of tiny little steps to the top of your mat, really taking your time. There's a lot of power in slowness, of just allowing yourself to be in that moment, to be fully present. Okay, press into your shins or the ground, halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, breath, sweep your arms all the way up, reach tall. Exhale, gather your hands through to heart center. Okay, inhale, breath, reach up, interlace your fingers, but keep your pointer fingers lifted. Okay. As you inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, pour over to your right side. Send your hips over to the left. So nice deep stretch through the lateral line of the body. Inhale, breath, lift back up through center. And exhale, pour over to the to the left, hips to the right. Okay, notice if you're really tense here, if it feels strong, but it also feels uncomfortable. So as you inhale, come back up through center. Try that again. Pour over to the right, hips to the left, but can you be a little bit more fluid through the shoulders? That there's a suppleness in the joints, a softness. Okay, inhale, reach up through center, and then exhale like water pouring over. Let yourself just begin to lengthen, but also relax. Okay, inhale, breath, come all the way up through center, and then exhale, forward fold to the mat. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to plant your hands, step your left toes back, drop your left knee down. A couple variations, we're gonna move through monkey lunge and half splits. So really working with that fluidity. Inhales will bring you into your lunge. Exhale, send your hips back, turn your front toes up towards the ceiling and fold over top of your thigh or shin. As you inhale, transfer more weight into your front foot, bend into your front knee, optional hands down, or you can reach the arms up if you want to make this a little bit more about balance and strength. And then exhale, hands will come down if they were lifted, and hips go back and fold. Okay, more so than trying to perfect this, can you just feel into the movement, the opening that's available as you send the hips forward and come into this lunge shape? And then the softness, the lengthening as you fold forward in your half splits. Okay, let's take 2 more rounds of breath and movement. Okay, so even if it's a little bit unsteady at times, just pressing down into the mat, feeling the support of the ground beneath you. And then the next time that you come into your lunge, let's pause there. So bending into your front knee, tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Left hand stays rooted either on the ground, fingertips, or you can always grab a block and begin to string your right fingertips all the way up. Okay, notice if your hips are wanting to swing out to the right. Can you scoop your right hip back behind you? Feel like you're drawing your inner thighs together. So there's a lot of power in the legs to hold you here. They're really strong and steady. Now find some fluidity in the arm. Reach your right fingertips to the back of the room, down to the ground, forward and up. Okay, let's take 2 more circles in this direction, creating some mobility in your shoulders. Okay, nice and slow. So this is a calming movement for the body, but then there's that element of the masculine energy, the strength. And when you come up to the top, pause, maybe even open up as though someone's rotating your rib cage from behind you. And then as you exhale, release your right hand down. Press into your hands, 3-legged dog. Begin to lift the weight out of your right foot as you sweep right foot back behind you. Bend into your right knee, stack into your hip, peel the side body open. And then as you exhale, gently release your right toes beside your left. Inhale, breath shift forward, high plank, rippling through the spine. You can lower from toes or knees. You're gonna lower all the way down, elbows squeeze the sides of your rib cage. Okay, walk your hands off of your mat so that your hands are actually quite wide. They're even wider out than your elbows, and elbows are pointing up to the ceiling. Okay, toes are down. I just don't have space here. As you inhale, begin to peel yourself away from your mat. Your gaze will come up last. So you exhale, roll your right shoulder forward, look over to the left, right cheek towards the ground. Inhale, breath, press into the strength of your fingertips. Exhale, roll the left shoulder forward, look over to your right. Feel that softening to the earth. Inhale, breath, the press, the effort to lift up. And then exhale, that slow ease down as you twist. Let's take 1 more over to the left. Inhale up through center and exhale to twist. Come all the way back up through center and then slowly lower yourself all the way back down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, big toes to touch. As you press up, you're coming back to child's pose. Lift the hips and then take the knees wide and take your hips back to heel. Inhale, breath, fill up. Feel into the space you've been granted. And then exhale, just drop into that space. Inhale, breath, lift back up through tabletop. Walk your knees in. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Looking forward, you can play with stepping, but if you want to play into a little bit of the power of the legs, you can take a deep bend into the knees. Heels are lifted. Maybe you bend once or twice, almost like a spring being loaded to draw forward. And then when you bend so deep, you can begin to lift your heels in towards your tailbone and play with jumping to the top of your mat. Okay, don't worry about the outcome, just focus on the sensation, on the experience. Okay, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, rest, sweep your arms all the way up. And then exhale, gather your hands through heart center. Inhale, breath, reach up, interlace your fingers, pointer fingers stay lifted. Exhale, pour over to the right. Inhale, breath, lift up through center. Exhale, moving with the breath, pour to the left. Inhale, breath up through center. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step your right toes back, drop your right knee down. Moving through your monkey lunge and half splits again. So you get to choose the variation, hands can stay down the whole time, or they might lift up. So just start to find your rhythm of breath. Really taking that full inhale until you come to the pause at the end, and then full exhale where you really get to sink into that stillness right at the end of the breath. You're just gonna move through this about 3 or 4 more times. And notice how it's not about going to a certain depth. It's not about getting somewhere, but just about the experience of moving through in a way that's really internal. The experience of moving through something where it's not about the outcome, but just about how we learn to shift with what's happening both around and within. Okay, the next time that you come into your lunge pose, plant into your hands, tuck your back toes to lift your knee. Right hand or fingertips stay rooted. Inhale, your left fingertips draw all the way up. Okay, 3 full circles on this side. Squeezing inner thighs, legs are stable. Arm is lengthening, but is also soft. Okay, so allow your body just to move through any of that stickiness. Okay, one more inhale breath, left fingertips draw all the way up. You can pause. Maybe you draw your left fingertips back behind you. And then as you exhale, you release your left hand down. Plant into your hands, 3-legged dog. Sweep your left toes all the way up and back. Bend into your left knee, stack into your hips. Root equally through both hands as you lift your knee a little bit higher. And then exhale, release your left toes back down. Pedal this out, take some shifts. All right, looking forward, step or even hop your way to the top of your mat. Okay, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, rest, sweep your arms all the way up. And then exhale, hands gather through heart center. Okay, take a moment in Tadasana, release your hands forward, palms face in front. You might roll out your shoulders. Okay. Close into your eyes and just feel how rooted your feet are. Okay, so even if you're shifting slightly side to side, there's no fear of tipping over. We're gonna work into a moon sequence, so it's gonna be completely different than perhaps anything you've done before. And the reason for this is just to break those barriers of what we know to be true, or barriers of what was, so that we can really begin to step into what is right here and right now, to find the power in our ability to shift and be in the present moment, even if we're unsure of where that's guiding us to. All right, inhale, breath, reach your arms all the way up. Interlace your fingers, keep your pointer fingers lifted. As you exhale, pour over to your right, send your hips off to the left. Okay, a little bit different this time. Inhale, lift back up through center. Take a giant step back with your right foot. So you're gonna step about halfway back your mat. Turn and pivot your toes to the right edge of your mat. So toes are to the long edge. Okay, release your arms all the way down to your hips. Roll your shoulders up and back. Turn your heels in so your toes are turned out, and begin to sink your hips down into a goddess squat. Okay, so knees will land over top of your ankles. You can even take your hands behind your thighs and press your thighs into your hands. So you're pulling your knees back, which is gonna engage your glutes. Draw your belly button into your spine, and then feel like you're lifting your bottom 2 ribs away from your hip bones. Okay, on an inhale breath, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, bend into your elbows, so you're cactusing the arms, squeezing shoulder blades together, and just begin to feel into the effort, the strength, the power of this pose. Okay, so this pose is goddess pose. And this one always reminds me of my second favorite Hindu goddess, Kali. And she is the goddess of time, death, and destruction. And I think it's so powerful that when I grew up, goddesses were really dainty women or princesses, and then to see these goddesses that are just so strong in their ability to be in this masculine sense of power. Okay, so see if you can sit a little bit lower. Trust that your body can hold here, but then find the feminine softness in the breath. Okay, big breath in, soft breath out. One more time, inhale, fill up, and exhale. Okay, as you inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your legs. As you exhale, turn your left toes to the side of your mat, arms reach out to the front and back, palms face down. You're setting up for triangle, so you can pick up your right heel, so right toes point towards the back of your mat. Kick your hips back behind you. Reach through your right fingertips. When you can't reach anymore, take your right hand down to the inside of your front leg, left hand comes up. Triangle pose. Okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now feel the lengthening through the inner line of the arms. Gaze might come up. Still rooted through the feet. Soft bend into that front knee so you're not locking out the joint. And then finding still that fluidity of breath so that that softness is always available no matter how much strength we're working into. As you exhale, pyramid, rotating down, left hand to the inside of your left foot. Turn onto your back toes so both legs are straight. Back heel might be slightly lifted. And then lengthen through the spine like you're taking a halfway lift. Draw your right hip back. Left hip begins to draw forward. Slight tuck of your chin, lengthening through the back of your neck. Hold for one more inhale. See if you can reach the crown of your head further forward. And then exhale, begin to bend into both knees and lower your left knee down. Okay, we've been here before, monkey lunge. Inhale breath, reach your arms up. Stacking hands over shoulders, over hips. And then interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down. Draw your knuckles towards your left calf or the earth, and then feel this pulling in the opposite direction, the lift of the sternum. Okay. So I think that in this practice of duality, it really teaches us that the way that we look at things isn't necessarily the way that they have to be. So in order for us to be strong, it doesn't mean that we can't also have our vulnerable and weak moments, that we can't also be really soft, that we're able to call upon both, and in this power of duality, we actually are stronger, okay? As you exhale, you'll gently release your hands down to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes to lift your knee. Okay, turn to your left, so you're once again gonna face the right side of your mat, Skandasana. Right knee stays bent, left leg straight. Now you can stay up high here, or you can sink your hips low and your left toes turn up, rooting your left heel into the mat. If you want to play with balance, one or both hands might come through heart center. In either variation, you're going to feel a lot of effort into that right hip. Can you just breathe through it? You feel into the strength, feel into the resistance, and then just simply breathe. Okay, so able to find room for both. And then shifting to the other side, you can use your hands to walk along the edge of your mat, pick up your hips like you're coming through a wide-legged forward fold, and then begin to bend into your left knee. Right leg straightens or right toes turn up, and then once again, maybe playing with balance. Okay, and recognizing that it might not be the same on this side, that your balance might be a little bit shifted. Okay. And so just honoring where you're at in that moment and what's available to you. Release your hands down. We're going to turn towards the front of your mat. So don't worry if you're unsure of where we're going. It'll make sense when we're done this sequence. Pick up your hips, turn and pivot to the front. So left foot is forward, right knee drops down, monkey lunge. Hands reach up. Okay. As you exhale, you'll interlace hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down. Feel into the strength of the arms and the shoulders drawing together, but then can you feel a soft opening just through the heart? Relax into the front of your neck and throat. Maybe even soften into your face. You might allow a smile to begin to penetrate that hard exterior shell of our concentrating face. And then as you exhale, gently release your hands back down. Tuck your back toes to lift your knee, and then slide your right foot about a third of the way up so you're back into a pyramid shape. Legs are straight. And then you begin to lengthen through the spine. Reach the crown of your head forward, almost like you're drawing your collarbones towards the top of your mat. Left hip pulls back, which brings your right hip forward. Or you can think about squeezing inner thighs together. All right, a bit of a different transition. Turn your back foot to a slight angle, so your right toes maybe point out to about 1 or 2. Walk your left hand to the inside of your front foot. String your right fingertips up, so you're setting up for triangle. Using your obliques, the right side of your core this time. You're gonna slowly just slide your left hand away from the earth so the back of your left hand lands to the inside of your front thigh. Reaching through your fingertips, gaze can come wherever is comfortable, but really find your body in this space of being really open, really big, refusing to play small within your practice. Okay, inhale breath, we'll lift all the way back up, arms out to the front and back. Turn and pivot your left toes to the side. So now your feet are parallel to one another. Pick up your heels, heels turn in, toes turn out. Sink the hips, bend the elbows. Back where we started in goddess squat. Okay, so you can always take a little bit of movement. You're always free to be fluid in the practice, but allow yourself to feel into that destruction of what strength looks like. Okay, maybe strength today is about listening to your body and actually holding back a little bit. Maybe strength is about getting really wide in this pose. Maybe strength is just showing up in your mat. So whatever it is, allow yourself to be strong within this moment. Okay. On an inhale breath, you'll straighten to your arms, straighten into your legs. Turn and pivot your toes towards the front, and then step your right toes to meet your left. Interlace your fingers, point your fingers, reach up. Inhale breath, lift up. Exhale, pour over to the left, hips to the right. Inhale, come back up through center, and then exhale, hands land at heart center. Release your hands, Tadasana mountain pose. Okay, roll your shoulders up and back. Close your eyes. You can always take your feet a little bit wider and take a couple of recovery breaths. Okay. Notice how it felt to be in that last sequence. Maybe just destroying this previous idea of what a flow class looks like, of what a vinyasa is. And this last sequence is a moon sequence. So where we really begin to take half the sequence one way and the other half the other way. And the moon energy represents the yin, which is a counterbalance to the yang. And our world is really, really yang. It's masculine, it's fast-paced, it's moving, it's building. And so the yin is the feminine, the moon energy, the water. So it's this idea of being fluid and soft, yet strong. So see if you can bring a little bit of that yin moon energy into this other side. Okay, we're gonna move through the poses we've already done a little bit quicker. The ones we're adding on will stay in for a bit so you get time to explore. All right, inhale breath, reach your fingertips all the way up. Interlace your fingers, point your fingers, stay lifted. Exhale, pour over to your left, hips to the right. Inhale breath, lift up through center. Exhale, giant step back with your left foot. Turn all 10 toes to the left side of your mat. Release your arms to your hips. Roll your shoulders once or twice. Turn your heels in, turn your toes out. Sit your hips down. Inhale breath, reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, goddess squat. Sink a little bit lower. Really tap into that power to overcome the fear of anything that maybe comes up in this shape. The fear of doubt or not being good enough. Okay, as you inhale, reach up again, straighten to your arms and legs. Exhale, arms to the front and back. Turn and pivot your right toes off to an angle, left toes to the back of the room, setting up for a triangle. Send your hips towards the old front of your mat. Reach through your left fingertips, and then take your left hand down and right hand up. Inhale, breath, lengthen through the arms. Exhale, pyramid. Right hand comes down, turn and pivot onto your back toes. Okay, inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to hold. Adding on a little bit more here, right hand stays rooted down. As you inhale, string your left hand up towards your left hip or all the way up to the ceiling. Okay, don't worry if your back heel is lifted. Still just play with drawing your right heel towards the ground. So there's that energetic magnetism of the body to the earth. Okay. As you exhale, release your left hand down, L-shaped pose. Walk your hands forward, about a foot in front of your left toes. Pick up your right heel. Okay, we have a tendency to try to stack right hip over left. So to avoid that, you can actually take your right toes and turn them slightly in. So that'll drop your right hip. Lengthen through the spine. Reach the crown of your head forward. All right. Gently step back, bending into your standing leg for your monkey lunge. Right toes reach the mat. Drop your right knee down. Inhale, breath. Take your fingertips all the way up. Soften through the shoulders. Exhale, release your hands down to frame your front foot. Half splits. Send your hips back, turn your left toes up, and fold. Okay, you can play with a couple variations and half splits. If you want more of an active variation, lengthen through the spine like you did in pyramid, drawing your collarbones towards the top of your mat. You can add in a twist, left hand to hip or up to the ceiling, or you might just soften through the spine and give yourself some space to breathe. Okay, 2 more breaths wherever you are. Bend back into your front knee, placing into your hands. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Add in a twist in your low runner's lunge. Inhale, draw your left fingertips all the way up. As you exhale, left hand comes down, Skandasana. Turn to your right, so you're once again facing the original left side of your mat. Left knee stays bent, right leg straight. Either hips high or hips low. Take one full breath as you are. Exhale, shift through center. Skandasana on the other side. You can take an inhale, maybe take a twist or hands through heart center. Turn to the top of your mat again. Picking up your hips, pivot all 10 toes forward. Left hand stays rooted. Inhale, draw your right fingertips all the way up. Adding in a juicy twist. Squeeze inner thighs together. Exhale, release your right hand down. Drop your back knee. Half splits. Send your hips back. Okay, here for a little bit longer. First time that we've come into half splits within this moon sequence. So just play with what you need in this pose. If it feels really restricted, you can always slide your front heel a little bit further forward, but try to keep your hips over top of your back knee so you're not putting any strain onto that joint. Okay, just take a couple more breaths. Let go of what this looks like. Just begin to shed these physical layers of the expectation of our body or our practice. Okay. Shifting forward once again, monkey lunge. Bend into your front knee. Inhale, breath, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, release your hands down. Stepping to L-shaped pose. Tuck your back toes to lift your knee. Bend into your back knee, walking your hands forward. Spring off your left toes to pick up the heel. Reach the crown of your head forward. Turn your left toes slightly inward. So you're turning your left toes towards your right ankle. Flex into your left foot like you're stepping onto a wall. All right, gently release your left foot down. You can kind of just step it without bending into your standing leg, and that should take you into pyramid. Okay, lengthen through the spine. Reach the crown of your head forward. Adding in that twist, right hand comes towards right hip. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. Inner thighs draw towards one another. Exhale, release your right hand down, setting up for pyramid. Turn your left toes out to about 10 or 11 o'clock. Right hand to the inside of your front foot. Left fingertips slide up. And then on your inhale breath, begin to slide your right hand up towards your inner calf or inner thigh for your triangle. Take a full breath in. A long breath out. Inhale, lift up through center, 5-pointed star. Turn your right toes to face the left side of your mat, so the long edge. Pick up your heels, sink your hips down, bend your elbows, goddess squat. Okay, hold for an inhale. Sink a little bit lower into that exhale. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Step to the top of your mat. Keep your arms lifted. Inhale, breath, interlace the fingers, reach pointers up. Exhale, pour over to the right, hips to the left. Inhale, come all the way out through center, and exhale, hands to heart center. Release your palms to face forward, mountain pose. Okay, mountain pose is one of the, what you would consider easiest poses of the practice. We, stand in mountain pose all the time, but there's so much strength to this pose. So before we move on to that next part of the sequence, feel the grounding of your body. So root through your feet. Okay. Feel your fingertips draw towards the earth, shoulders drawing down your back. And then can you feel a little bit of the lightness? So lifting from your ankles, lift your kneecaps up, engaging the quads, lift your ribs away from your hips, sternum rises, almost as though someone has a string attached to the crown of your head and is pulling up. And then there's parts of your body that are rooting you down. So it's like you're getting longer and longer with each breath. And at the same time, can you feel the movement of your breath, that despite how strong and solid you are, there's this undercurrent of movement. All right, let's continue. Inhale, breath, reach your fingertips all the way up. Interlace your hands, point your fingers, stay lifted. Exhale, pour over to the right. Inhale, breath, lift up through center, giant step back with your right foot. Turn and pivot your toes, 5-pointed star. Hands out to the side. Pick up your heels, turn heels in, toes turn out, goddess squat. Sink your hips down, bend into your elbows. Can you make this a new shape? Can you find more depth, or can you just find new expression, really allowing your body to be big? Inhale, breath, straighten into the arms, straighten into the legs, triangle. Open the arms out, left toes turn to the side of your mat, right toes point forward. Inhale, breath, reach forward, kick the hips back. Exhale, rotate the arms. Take an inhale, reach a little bit further, maybe a slight lift. Exhale, pyramid. Left hand comes down, both hands frame your front foot. Both legs are straight. Optional, you can always slide your left foot a little closer in. Inhale, breath, lengthen. Exhale to hold. Add in your twist. Inhale, string your right fingertips up to the ceiling. Continue to squeeze inner thighs together. Exhale, hand comes down, L-shaped pose. Walk your hands forward, pick up your left heel. Optional, stay here, or you can play with a really short warrior three, hands to heart center. Draw your belly button to your spine so you're not breaking at the waist. Squeeze into your left glute to lift your heel, and then slide shoulder blades together, slight up dog of the chest. Okay, from either L-shaped pose or toppling tree, warrior three variation, step your left toes back, monkey lunge, drop your knee down. Inhale, breath, reach your arms up. Exhale, half splits, hands come down. Send your hips back, straighten out your front leg and fold. Just take one full breath here. Inhale, breath, shift forward, bending into your front knee. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee. Inhale to take your right fingertips up. Okay, listen carefully, it's changing. Right hand to the inside of your front foot. Inhale, take your left fingertips up. Optional, if you need to make this a little bit less challenging, turn your back foot to an angle so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat and you're in a warrior two stance. Otherwise, stay in a high lunge stance and then slowly begin to trace your right hand up your front leg, lift through the left fingertips, and then twist. So your palms face out towards the left side. Your feet are still turned towards the back of your mat. All right, turn and plant your back foot, flip your palms down, warrior two. Flip your front palm to face up. Inhale, straighten into your front leg. Reach right fingertips skyward. Exhale, warrior two. Bend into your right knee. Arms come down. Okay, feel the strength in this pose. It's a warrior pose, so it's meant to be a really grounded, strong, foundational pose. But then can you soften through your arms? So soft bend into your elbows, shoulders, relax, face is soft. Maybe even bring that curl to the lips, a soft smile. Okay. Interlace your hands behind your back. Turn your shoulders to face the back of your mat. If this is along your back knee, turn your left toes more towards the back of your mat as well. So you're more in a warrior one stance. Roll your shoulders up and down. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, hinge forward to the inside of your front leg. Hands can stay connected to your low back or might float away. A humble warrior. This is one of my most favorite shapes because it does talk to that ability to be both strong and soft, to be in the effort and the ease at the same time. So you have that power of the warrior, of the goddess, and then there's that softness, the humility, the peacefulness of the breath, the relaxation of the upper body. All right, maybe even feeling a little bit of shaking, but notice how your breath never wavers. Okay, hands to your low back. Inhale, windmill up, warrior two. And then exhale, windmill your hands down, low runner's lunge. Last little bit, Skandasana. Turn your toes to the left, right knee bends, left leg straight. Optional, add in a twist. And then exhale, walk through center Skandasana on the other side. Okay, should feel nice to release the right hip here. If you add in a twist on the first side, add one in as well. All right, picking up your hips, turn to the front. You're in a low runner's lunge. Turn your back foot to an angle, so it's in your warrior two stance, and then windmill up, warrior two. Turn towards the front as you interlace your hands back behind you. Roll your shoulders up and down. Inhale, breath, fill up. Exhale, hinge and fold towards your left inner thigh. Okay, if you're not feeling very powerful or strong in this pose, root through the feet. So there's so much foundation in the feet. Press through the pinky side edge of your right foot. Draw your left heel forward, your right heel back, almost like you're splicing your mat in two. Okay, soft through the shoulders and hands, so you don't have to grip a lot here, just relax. And then can you send a little bit more weight down? So really pressing into your mat like you could create a deeper impression of your body. Okay, bring your hands towards your low back. Inhale, windmill the arms up and open, warrior two. Exhale to hold. Flip your front palm to face up. Inhale, straighten into your left leg. Reach left fingertips up. Exhale, warrior two again. Different transition. Okay, so it's just backwards from where we were. Turn and pivot onto your back toes. So right toes now face the front of your mat. You're in a lunge. Flip your palms to face out. So you're still on a twist with the upper body. Shoulders square to the right side of your mat. Okay, lean forward with your left fingertips. Take your left hand down to the inside of your front foot, right arm up. Exhale, replace your left hand with your right. Right hand to your mat. Inhale, take your left fingertips up. Exhale, left hand comes back down. Drop your back knee. Send your hips back, half splits. One full breath here. Take a full breath in. A long breath out. Bend into your front knee, monkey lunge. Hands come up, hips forward. Exhale, hands down. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Either L-shaped pose, pressing off your right heel lifts to hip height, or warrior three, hands to heart center. Holding here for just a couple more breaths because it is a little bit of a newer shape, those of you taking your warrior three. All right, gently, if you have your heel lifted, actually you will have your heel lifted, just step your right heel back, but try not to bend too much into your standing legs, so that should bring you into your pyramid shape. Okay. Lengthen through the spine. Inhale, breath, take your left fingertips all the way up. Exhale, left hand comes to the inside of your front foot. Turn your right foot either to the long edge of your mat or off at a slight angle. Inhale, right hand comes up, set up for triangle. Use the strength of your core to slide your left hand up your leg. Reach through right fingertips. Next inhale takes you up to standing. So you're in 5-pointed star. Left toes point the side of your mat. Take your heels in. Toes turn out. Goddess squat. Sink your hips down. Full breath in. Long breath out. Straighten it into your legs. Turn and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, interlace your fingers. Reach fingertips up. Exhale, hands pour over to the left, hips to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, hands land at heart center, mountain pose. Last time we're in mountain pose. So we've gone through the sequence with a little bit of pauses. Now we're gonna flow through that. Take your own expressions, take your time. If you're moving faster or slower than me, know that this is still your practice and that this is an expression to step outside of the ordinary, to step outside of the rigid structures that we've even placed around this practice and just to find some free expression. Okay, inhale, breath, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, pour over to the left, hips to the right. Inhale, breath, lift up through center. Exhale, giant step back with your left foot. Turn and pivot, 5-pointed star. Turn your heels in, turn your toes out, goddess squat. Sink your hips down, squeeze shoulder blades together. Inhale, breath, stand tall, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, triangle. Reach your left hand forward, kick your hips back, left hand down, right hand up. Take an inhale to expand. Exhale, fold over your left leg, pyramid. Inhale, breath, use your halfway lift to lengthen and twist, left hand to low back or up to the ceiling. Use your exhale, left hand down. L-shaped pose or warrior three. Walk your hands forward, pick up your right heel, maybe hands to heart center. You're only here for a breath. Step your right foot towards the back of your mat. Monkey lunge, drop your right knee down. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, half split. Send your hips back, turn your left toes up. Inhale, breath, bend back into your front knee, low runner's lunge. Pick up the right knee. Inhale to twist. Exhale, left hand comes down to the inside of your front foot. Inhale, right hand comes up. Optional, turn the stance to warrior two, or for more of a challenge, stay in your high lunge. Begin to lift the upper body, shoulders stack over hips, palms face out away from the body. Okay, now turn your back foot to warrior two, flip the palms down. Left hand only flips up. Inhale, straighten into your left leg. Exhale, warrior two. Interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down. Turn to face your left toes. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, humble warrior. Just hold for a breath. Let the back of your head lengthen and soften, chin towards chest. Warrior two again. Inhale, breath. Lift up, windmill in the arms. Exhale, windmill down. Skandasana, turn to the right, bend into your left knee, right toes turn up. Optional, add in an opening to the heart. Skandasana on the other side, walk through center. Right knee bends, left leg extends. Open this up nice and wide. Exhale, left hand comes down, turn and pivot towards the top of your mat. Turn your feet to warrior two, windmill up. Beautiful. Interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down, humble warrior. Inhale gives you the lift. Exhale, the soft fold to the inside of your front foot. Hands draw away. One full breath. Use that pressing down to the earth to rise. Windmill back up, warrior two. Flip your right palm to face up. Straighten your front leg. Right hand reaches up. Nice deep stretch through the side body. Exhale, warrior two. Turn onto your back toe so you're moving towards that high lunge. Feel your hips draw forward. Palms face out. One full breath in. As you exhale, lower your right hand to the inside of your front foot. And then release your left hand to replace your right. Inhale, twist the other side. Right hand reaches up. Exhale, release your hand down, half splits. Take your knee back. Send your hips towards your left heel. Right leg straightens. One full breath. Bend back into your front knee. Monkey lunge. Send your hips forward. Reach through the fingertips. Exhale to take the hands down. Tuck your back toes. L-shaped pose or warrior three. Left heel lifts. Maybe body lifts in line with this shape. Setting back up for your pyramid. Hands come down. Left foot comes down. Lengthen through the spine again. Add in that twist. Inhale, right hand to your hip or up to the ceiling. Setting up for triangle, right hand down to the inside of your front foot. You can turn your back foot off to an angle. Inhale, left hand comes up. Slide your right hand away from the earth, up the length of your leg. One full breath. Use your inhale to rise up, five-pointed star. Turn your right toes to the side of your mat. Turn your heels in. Last time we're in Goddess today. Bend into your elbows, sink into your hips. Feel how much strength your body has just shown you, how much power you hold. Inhale, breath, reach through the fingertips. Step to the top of your mat. Last pose of the sequence. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pour over to the right. Inhale, come all the way back up through center, and exhale, forward, fold, let that go. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to full plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. You can lower from toes or knees. Lower all the way down to your belly. Okay. Bring your left cheek to your mat. And then bring your arms out to a cactus shape. You can also take this in a T-shaped position. I like cactus shape as I find it gets more into the pecs. The T-shape will get more into the joint, the front of your shoulder. Okay. And then plant your right hand beside your right shoulder and begin to roll yourself towards your left hip. Okay. So you're going to be creating an opening in the front of your chest. Legs can be stacked, bent, straight, whatever is comfortable with the legs. Okay, so that you just have this nice opening, some softness after all of the power and strength that we just moved through in Goddess. Okay. So I think that hopefully this practice kind of showed you what type of power, the dedication that we're all capable of, but that it doesn't always have to be moving and working every second, and it doesn't have to be rigid and perfect. That power is in our ability to shift, to be both in the light and in the dark. Our ability to be present, essentially, because in the present moment, both exist. In our fantasies, it's only the light, and it's not the dark. So in order to recognize both the masculine and feminine, we really give ourselves this power to call upon both when we need it. You're just going to gently switch to the other side. So you can slowly roll back onto your tummy. Right cheek to your mat this time. Right arm cactus. Left hand beside your shoulder. And then when you're ready, just begin to roll yourself over towards your right hip. You feel into the lengthening, the space there. And so why I really wanted to speak to these goddesses, A, of never not being broken, and B, Kali, the destroyer, especially Kali in this moment, because I think our normal was destroyed. Our stability, our foundation, what we have gotten so safe around has really been tossed to the wind. And a lot of us, I think, have looked at this as a really scary and bad thing. But in fact, it's this destruction that clears the path for new beginnings, for new opportunities, for creativity. And so when we're able to recognize both the masculine and feminine energy, we recognize our ability to be fluid and still, our ability to find new opportunity in destruction. Okay. Allow your breath just to settle a little bit more, last couple breaths on your belly. And then you'll just gently roll yourself back onto your belly. If your low back is a little bit sensitive, you might pick up your heels and just drop heels left and right to release sacrum and low back. We're just gonna simply make our way onto our back. So when you're ready, just pencil rolling over. And it might feel nice to take knees in towards your chest, rocking gently side to side. I encourage you here to take any final movements your body's craving. So that could be a happy baby. It might feel nice just to drop your feet down and knees over to the left and right. If you're craving a twist, you might just take about 5 or so breaths to each side. Okay, this is your opportunity to really find expression, to find what it is that your body needs and the power that we have to just tap into that inner knowing, inner wisdom, and to listen to it and to move forward from this place of authenticity. I know one of the reasons this topic of that our deepest fear is actually that we're powerful beyond measure, as I've seen it play out in these last few weeks of personally myself, of totally pivoting what being a yoga teacher looked like, of teaching online classes, of building a website, of creating these offerings that I think for me it was terrifying, because who am I to, be online? Who am I to teach people? Who am I to be brilliant or talented? And I think that's a fear that holds us of what we are actually capable of, because when we put ourselves out there, it's vulnerable and it allows us to be seen and to also be judged. And so to be able to step outside of that fear, to stop playing so small and to just give it our all, I think is a truly beautiful way of living. So really the question is not who are you to be this, but who are you not to be that? Who are you not to step into your greatest power, your offerings, that we really are meant to shine, okay? So eventually, if you haven't already, you're just going to begin to make your way to Shavasana, this place of rest in your practice. And let your eyes close. And just send a little bit of gratitude to yourself for all that you accomplished today. And even take the gaze backwards a little bit to everything you've accomplished up until this moment. Not just the big things, but all the small things that nobody necessarily claps for. That you have survived other crises before. You survived moments that you didn't think that you would necessarily get through unscathed. That we all have these little scars on both our bodies and hearts of life experience. But that this is also a beautiful reminder of living. That it can't just be the light and it can't just be the dark. That it is this beautiful combination of both. And so now is a place of rest, so that you can be prepared for a place of moving forward, of creating. So always remembering to take this time to yourself, to take some of that yin energy to just slow down and get receptive, and to call upon your inner god or goddess or power especially when you're feeling vulnerable or feeling weak or scared, is to call upon that energy. Okay. I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana so you can take as much time as you'd like to close off your practice. And truly, 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 so much love, so much gratitude. Namaste.